Hello and welcome. This is part 2 of our algebraic expressions lessons for Algebra 1, Quarter 1. So I'm going to go through numbers 5 through 8 in this video. And if you look at number 5, there's another blast from the past, and that are these symbols. These symbols are the absolute value symbols, and what they say is how far is whatever number inside the absolute value symbol, how far is it from 0? So let's substitute our numbers. I've got 2. If there's no operation in between, a 2 and a parenthesis, a variable, an absolute value bar, that implies multiplication. The absolute value, I'm going to substitute -2 in parentheses, minus 3 times x, -2 times y, -3. So I've done all my substituting. So we have to remember PEMDAS. Grouping symbols, then exponents, multiplication, division left to right, addition, subtraction left to right. Absolute values are a grouping symbol. So I need to evaluate this first. So I still have 2 multiplied by the absolute value of -2, or how far is -2 from 0? Well, it's 2 spaces away from 0. Now I have -3 times -2 times -3. Multiplication, lots of multiplication here. So I've got 2 times 2, which is 4, minus 3 times -2. I'm going to just kind of do this all in one step, which is -6 times -3, and that is a positive 18. So I end up with a 4 minus 18. I can put that right in my calculator, but if you want to do it in your head, I can keep, change, addition, negative, add the opposite, however you want to think about it. What is 4 plus -18? Well, it is -14. Alrighty. Looking at number 6, I see the absolute bar again, absolute value bar again. I also see a longer fraction bar, which is a grouping symbol between the numerator and denominator. So I'm going to substitute my variables, my replacement values. 15 minus 3 times y squared. Make sure you put that -3 in parentheses, squared, all over the opposite of the absolute value of -2. Let's see what I have in the numerator. Looking at grouping, I don't have any grouping here. I do have parentheses, but it's with an exponent. So I will evaluate that first. 15 minus 3 times -3 times -3, which is 9. And then I need to say to myself, how far is -2 from 0? Well, it's 2 spaces, but I need the opposite of whatever that absolute value is. So because this is 2, outside remains -2 is your value in the denominator. The numerator has a few more steps. I have to multiply first. So I have 15 minus 3 times 9, which is 27, divided by -2, or over 15 minus 27. You can put that in the calculator, or you can keep, change. I've got 15 plus a -27, which equals -12, and it is over -2. Remember that fractions are division, so this really says -12 divided by -2. A negative divided by a negative is positive, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my response answer is 6. Alrighty, let's move on to my favorite questions, because they are bringing back fractions and the joy that they are. So here in number 7, I have 5/9 times p cubed. We substitute our negative numbers in parentheses. We also substitute fractions in parentheses. So 5/9, this right next to my variable, implies multiplication times p, which is 3/5. You'll notice there's an m equals -8, but there's no m in this expression, so I'm not going to use it. And there are no replacement values here, so I will let you know that they stay the same in this problem. All right, but back here, this needs to be cubed. So what does it mean to be cubed? Well, it means 3/5 times 3/5 times 3/5. Maybe you've forgotten how to multiply fractions. So I'm going to expand this. This is really 5/9, 3/5 times 3/5 times 3/5. When I want to multiply fractions, I multiply straight across. So I'll leave this separate since it was kind of its own thing, right? So I have 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. So now I have 5/9 times 27. And I have 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. And here is my final answer. And I want you to know you can always simplify at the end. I tend to, with multiplication, you cannot do this with addition or subtraction, but multiplication, you absolutely can. Do something called cross-simplifying. I look at the numbers in my numerators and the number in my denominators, and do they have common factors? I notice that 5 goes into 125 evenly. So I'm going to divide 5 and 125 by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 125 divided by 5 is 25. I also notice that 9 goes evenly into 9 and 27. 9 divided by 9 is 1, and 27 divided by 9 is 3. So if I were to rewrite this, I've got 1 over 1 times 3 over 25, and multiply straight across. My answer is 1 times 3 over 25. Last up is the best one ever, which is 1 minus m over p squared. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to substitute in 1 minus -8. And that will be over divided by 3/5. Make sure you substitute that in parentheses squared. So I've got an expression in the numerator and an expression in the denominator. So I need to evaluate numerator and evaluate denominator and see where I go from there. So I am going to keep change or add the opposite. And my numerator is 1 plus 8, which is 9. The denominator is 3/5 times 3/5. So I'll just write that really quickly here, which I multiply right across. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 divided by 5, 5 times 5 is 25. So remember, this is my numerator and this is my denominator. And fractions are division. So my numerator, where I started, is saying 9 divided by 9 over 25. And I write it this way because this is how the better, well, it's not the better, it is the most efficient way to divide and multiply fractions is horizontally. So I'm going to put a 1 under my whole number. What's 9 divided by 1? It's 9. I have not changed the value. And then when I want to divide fractions, I take the first fraction, it stays the same, and I multiply by the reciprocal. You may have heard this called keep, flip, change. Again, I tend to like to cross simplify, so I don't have to simplify at the end. I'm looking at the numbers in my numerators, the numbers in my denominators. I see that 9 and 9, they're the same. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 9 divided by 9 is 1. What I have is 1 over 1 times 25 over 1. Multiplying straight across, 1 times 25 is 25. 1 times 1 is 1. And this is an okay answer, but sadly it is not correct. 25 divided by 25 is 25. You got to get rid of the 1. That's it for evaluating expressions. Thank you so much. Bye.